Hey, deserving listeners, Big Ed, 90 Day Fiancé, The Single Life. Let's watch.
We are going to start with Ed and Liz. We see you guys are sitting not together today.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on?
We broke up.
You broke up?
Yeah.
We broke up a month ago today.
I wonder if that is when the phone call happened. Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if the phone call happened a month ago from this point and they broke up then, and then the tell-all happened, and then somehow the phone call was leaked after that.
The next week I was meeting his daughter. The next week I was meeting his sister, his brother. I was thrown in multiple situations I was not prepared for. It took me months to introduce him to my grandparents. Months for that to happen.
Okay, so I've had a running working hypothesis about Liz that she has a hard time saying no, and she will default to pleasing her partners when she's more ambivalent on the inside. And from the very beginning, whenever Ed would push her, and she would use the word push to progress the relationship, she would be ambivalent about it, but she would always agree to, and she would always say yes. In fact, the last time we saw them, he had asked her to move into the house. She seemed ambivalent, but she said, yes, let's do that. So now she's talking about that. She's saying he was very pressuring. And okay, Ed has the right to ask for that. Like, I really want to move in with you. I really want you to meet my daughter. I really want this relationship to move forward. That's okay. It's also okay for Liz to say, no, I don't want to do that. But it doesn't sound like Liz did that. It sounded like Liz said, okay, I'll do that, and then later wouldn't feel good about it. Now, you could argue that Ed's tactics to push her were on the abusive side, maybe on camera or off camera. But at the very least, I think we might be seeing some indication of Liz's personality where there's some relational traumas that make it hard for her to say no to other people when she really wants to say no, or even hard for her to identify that she wants to say no when deep in her heart she does want to say no.
I can tell this is emotional for you to talk about right now. What are you feeling?
I just would have never taken those steps if I knew that this was going to be the outcome, because I was not expecting this to be the outcome. I was expecting to be with each other. I never thought he would not be a part of my life. I thought he was going to be the one.
Okay, that's interesting. So maybe I've been wrong this whole time, and when he asked her to move in, she perceived it as pushing, but she actually really wanted to spend the rest of her life with him, and it was a welcomed push, I guess. So it sounds like maybe I was wrong about her ambivalence. I don't know, though.
Ed is the reason that you two are no longer a couple because you were taking the relationship too fast?
Sorry. We moved way too fast. Like she didn't have a chance. Our relationship didn't have a chance.
So regardless of what you think of Ed, I think that this is sincere. He goes into this mode sometimes when he's rejected, and I think this is what he's running from when he has the other modes that he has. The other modes we've seen on the show. Who knows if he has other modes or even if I'm seeing it right. But he has a mode where he is very desperate to make up with someone. We saw him do that with Rose and with Liz, where he is very gracious. He'll take responsibility. He's very nice, very charming, big heart. I'm in love with you. I want to be with you. So I think he will turn off parts of himself and really turn on that charming, I'm in love with you part of himself so that he can get the relationship back. It's not unusual for people to do that. He has another mode where he is optimistic and everything's going to work out and love is in the air and life is great. And I think he's denying things in those moments as well. I think he's running away from this. I think in that mode, he has to believe the world is going to work out for him because there's a deep sense that things are not going to work out for him underneath all that. Then we have another mode where he will attack people from this place. I think this place is a very hurt person. And when he is being threatened as a way of trying to get some kind of power, or even as a way of trying to get the person to change their mind and come back to him, he will become very aggressive and verbally abusive to someone. But I think underneath it all, this is the real Ed that he is running from.
Her world, amazing. I'm going to do everything I can to give her what I thought she deserved, that she never had. And I fucked it up. I fucked it up.
So the question is, does he really believe that he effed it up? I think there's a good possibility that he did. Or does he just say that as a way of trying to get people to say, no, you didn't screw Is it a fishing expedition that he's on? I don't know. Because given his behavior, I could see either, because there are times, well, what I'll say is that he doesn't usually exhibit an understanding of what he did wrong. Like he says, I effed it up, I effed it up. If we were to corner Ed in this moment, we'd say, okay, so you effed it up. What do you mean by that? What did you screw up? I don't know if he would have a coherent thing to say, because if he was coherent, I think he would say, well, when I get insecure and I have that separation anxiety, I actually will become verbally abusive because I'm so terrified and I resort to this terrible behavior. That's how I F it up. I don't know if he would say that. I think what he would say is, well, I went too fast. But is that really the reason why Liz left him? Is that he went too fast, even though she in her heart wanted to spend she just said he was the one. He was the one I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. And because he went too fast, I could imagine a scenario like that where Liz would be like, look, let's slow down. I want to be with you because you're the one for me, but let's just slow down. But she broke up with him. So I don't know, something doesn't add up here.
At one point, I felt like if I didn't go at his pace, I was going to lose him. That he wouldn't want me anymore. So I would cave in and go at his speed.
What made you think that he wouldn't want you anymore if you didn't go at his speed?
He would tell me all the time that it wouldn't work out between us.
I'm wondering if there were a lot of things going on behind the scenes and she didn't want the cameras to see it. Who knows? But, or she has a history of being in high control relationships where people were abusing her. And I'm really kind of concerned about her, given the little indication. I don't know, but I'm worried about her in this moment. That it sounds like what she's saying is, he was pushing me, and I didn't want to do it deep down, but I didn't want to lose him because I have abandonment trauma in my own life. And so I just pleased and pleased and pleased. I did whatever he wanted just so he would. And so there's that possibility. There's a line between I wanted to please him because I didn't want to lose him, or I wanted to please him because I wanted him to calm down. And that would be very, very unsettling if that were true. You could imagine that could happen, right? Even if Ed was innocently pushing, you could imagine a world in which for Liz, she was picking up on Ed, his disapproval, and now she's saying, that he would say this isn't going to work out. And given the infamous phone call, we could imagine what language he might have been using, that she went okay, so let me back up. And I know some of you know this, but just to reiterate it, is that when you are abused, and frequently, particularly young in life, but even later in life, if the abuse starts later in life, it can develop where you have this, we have flight, fight, freeze, appease, or faint. And for some of us, when we are in a state of relationship fear and relationship abandonment or relationship invasion, or something that is scaring us about a relationship, we can go to a freeze mode or appease mode. There's the fight and the flight. I'm going to fight with someone, I'm going to run away, or I'm going to freeze, or I'm going to appease. And I wonder if for her, she has an abuse history that causes her to go into an appease mode when someone comes in real strong with her and gives energy that they're going to disapprove of her or maybe even abuse her. And so she just clicks on, and this will happen, people will describe this, it's really quite eerie and really unfortunate, and with therapy, people can recover from this, by the way, and manage it, that she would go into appease mode, and then that would cause her to give in and say yes. And on the surface, she would even consciously feel like, yes, this is what I want. But deep down was just a sea of terror and a sea of fight or flight, freeze, appease, faint feeling of just like, just appease him and he'll calm down and I will feel safe. I wonder if we're going to see evidence of that.
I don't want to get hurt.
I got hurt. You hurt me. You just completely left me and you promised me you wouldn't leave me. This month has been hell.
So I'm really confused. It sounds like she is saying that he left her. All my hypotheses that I've had about this relationship are in question. Usually I think for Ed's personality, I feel like I'm getting some evidence to bolster some of the hypotheses I have about him. But about their relationship and about Liz, I have a lot of guesses, I have a lot of hypotheses, but I don't feel good about any of them, especially what we're hearing here today. Hey, deserving listeners, as you all know, I am constantly recommending that people go to therapy. We all need therapy from time to time. Well, one of the options available that is definitely worth checking out is BetterHelp. If you're looking for a therapist, I would give it a try by going to betterhelp.com/Kirk. Make sure you use the promo code Kirk because you get 10% off your first month, and it really helps us out. As you watch these videos, I know many of you have been motivated to find your own therapist, which is great because you deserve it. And I know also that it can be hard to find a good fit, find the right one for you. Well, one of the options available in terms of your shopping is to go to betterhelp.com/Kirk. I've been told you can start communicating with your therapist in under 24 hours. You can message your counselor at any time. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions. I've also been told that it's often less expensive than in-person therapy, and you should know that this service is available to clients worldwide. So go to betterhelp.com/Kirk to get 10% off your first month today.
You blocked me and went to Vegas and ranted about your sugar babies.
Wow. I'm so confused right now.
Yes, you and me both. I don't know what your name is, but yes, you and me both. Again, with the infamous phone call in mind, we can imagine, who knows, that they had some kind of verbal altercation and he was being verbally abusive to her. And then he said, "You're effed up in the head. You're stupid. You're effing stupid. There's something wrong with you, da-da-da." Or even that very conversation. They break up. He blocks her in anger, goes to Vegas, somehow contacts her and says, "I'm with a bunch of sugar babies," to somehow rub her face in it as if that rubs her face in it. Like, okay, Ed, go for it. Have your sugar, whatever that means. And wow. I mean, that even takes it to a whole other level, right? We heard the phone call, the infamous phone call, but now we're hearing that he would go to Vegas and say that, what she said. And it's hard to imagine that given the way he acts in the show, right? It seems like he has a whole other side to him that we saw glimpses of with Rose and with Liz. We saw a big glimpse of in the phone call, and now we're hearing more of it from Liz.
Liz, look at me. Okay, look at me.
I'm looking at an asshole right now.
I am in therapy. I'm 55. I've never been in therapy. I know that there is a lot I need to work on for me.
Our time is gone.
So good that he's in therapy. That doesn't necessarily exonerate you from bad behavior. And it's not like people in therapy don't commit bad behavior. So good, you're in therapy, that's fine. But that doesn't necessarily make up for what you did, right?
And yeah, you know what? I am going to go on dates constantly until I find the one. That killed me. That
were you hurt?
killed me when I read those words.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm an asshole. When we fight, I'm an asshole. I am, and I'm sorry. I'm a dick.
Okay, good. Half a thumbs up for that because you're admitting it. You did it, so that's a lot of thumbs down. Does he believe it? Does he really know that? Is he in that mode that I talked about where he's scrambling to get her back or he's trying to appear in a certain way because he's on camera? or does he really mean it? I think it's possible he does mean it in this mode, but then in the other modes, it goes out the window. I don't know.
But what was it that broke you up?
We just fought all the time.
And what kinds of things would you fight about?
Yeah, Sean always asks the best questions. And by the way, Sean, if you're watching right now, welcome to my channel. Sean actually commented on one of my videos during the last tell-all, and that was, a wonderful moment in my life. But anyway, Sean always asks great questions. I think she would be a wonderful therapist. And she says, I don't understand, what exactly broke you up? Exactly, because it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's, you're saying that, Liz, you wanted to be with him, wanted to be with him, wanted to be with him. He's the one, he's the one, he's the one. But you're also saying he was pushing too fast. And you're saying he was doing all these horrible things while you still wanted to be with him. And he broke up with you. I don't understand. So why did you leave? And then she says, well, we fought a lot. So either Liz is trying to obscure that for some reason, which I can't imagine why, or again, there's something about the normalization of her life. Like I could imagine, who knows, but if Liz had a tremendous abuse history, then I wouldn't be surprised by that. And then it would possibly explain why she frames it that way and why she doesn't detect bad behavior or harmful behavior when it's happening to her. It hurts her, but because of her past and all the abuse she's been through, it might be normalized for her. It might just be like, well, that's how people, treat people. That's how people treat me. And so she doesn't detect it as, wait, this is crossing a line here and this isn't okay. And this makes me feel terrible and maybe I shouldn't be in this relationship. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it, and take care of others because we all deserve it. We really, really do.